You played for that church for 10, 15, maybe even 20 years for free. And you finally decided to walk away. And within weeks, they found someone new to replace you. And here's the part that's going to make your stomach drop. They're paying the new person. Let me show you why that just happened and what it actually proves. So something kept coming up in the comments of my last few videos that I've been doing about church musicians. Story after story, they all kind of said the same thing. I was playing for a church that wasn't paying me, they wouldn't pay me, and then I decided to leave, and then the new person that came in after me, they started paying them. Like, check out these comments. Here's one where he says they wouldn't pay him despite being there since the church started. But the moment he left, they hired someone else with pay. And then another one that says, every time it came up for me, he's talking about pay there, I just walked away. And every time, without fail, the person coming in afterwards was getting paid decently. And another comment that says this person just got tired of it. He raised his prices, and the church willing to pay his worth actually contacted him. And 5 months later, he has no complaints. Now, I've been a church musician for over 30 years, and I've led teams. I've been on executive boards at churches, and I've seen this kind of thing up close and personal in my own story and in the story of those who are musicians that I personally know. So I'm going to break down why this keeps happening and what it really proves and what every church musician needs to understand about their own value. And wait till I get to the part about why they weren't willing to pay you, but they were willing to pay the new person. It's going to make all of this click for you. So let me take you through the stages that musicians who play for free go through at these churches. So the first stage that they go through is what I call the faithful season. This is the season where they show up week after week, year after year for free. They play, they train the teams, they pick the songs, and they play for all of the extra services. Again, all for free with little appreciation. They covered all the services when nobody else could, and they were always on call and always available. And they never asked for money because they was told that it was ministry and that they should be doing that and they should be using their gift and talent of music for free. And then in the next stage, something shifts. It's what I call the breaking point. So maybe it was you got burned out, or maybe you had a conversation about pay that went nowhere, or maybe it was just one too many "we really appreciate you" comments that really didn't amount to anything. So you brought up pay. And what did you get in return? You got guilt. You got scripture put on you. You got told that your heart wasn't right, and you got silence from them. And then in the next stage, what happens is you finally just walk away. You say, I'm done with it. I'm out of there. You do it sometimes quietly. You do it with a conversation sometimes. But either way, you're out of there. And then came the replacement stage. Once you walked away, within weeks, sometimes even days, a job listing went up, or they started reaching out to other musicians that they knew. And they offer this new musician the one thing that they would never offer you: compensation. And see, that tells you that position was always a paid position. They just didn't want to pay you. So let me tell you why then they paid the new musician, but they didn't want to pay you. And it's for a few reasons. And the first reason is because they knew you wouldn't leave. See, here's the thing about us church musicians. Your loyalty to these churches becomes their leverage. When a church knows that you're committed and you're emotionally invested and you're unlikely to walk away, they stop negotiating. I mean, why would they? You're already there. You're already playing for free. You're already committed. And paying you would cost them something that they're already getting for free. The moment they saw you were bought in and you were committed and unlikely to walk away, compensation became optional. And another reason they paid the new musician and not you is because the new musician coming in has options. See, what happens is when a church puts out a job listing for a new musician, or they reach out to someone to try to see if they can find a musician, they're suddenly in a competitive market because the new musician can easily just say no. They probably got other gigs and other options, and they're not emotionally tied to that particular church. And so then the church all of a sudden gets serious about budget. They weren't being stingy, they were being strategic. And the new musician has options, so all of a sudden money appears. And another reason is, and this is a really hard one, you actually subsidized the next musician's paycheck. Your years of sacrifice and commitment and unpaid work actually set the stage for the new musician to come in and get paid. You actually grew and built the ministries that they're walking into. You trained the teams that they're being paid to lead now. You actually built the budget line item that is paying the next musician. And another reason is really the truth of all of this. It was never about money in the first place. It was about power. See, if the church was truly broke, they couldn't have paid the new musician either. But they did, which means they could have been paying you while you were there. But they chose not to, because paying you meant acknowledging that you had leverage. And as long as you were loyal and committed there, that was something that they didn't have to give up. They didn't refuse to pay you because they couldn't. They refused to pay you because they didn't have to. Now, here's what all of this actually proves. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The replacement that happened isn't just a hurtful moment. It's the ultimate piece of evidence. It proves, number one, that this was a paid position all along. So every time you asked about budget and they told you that, hey, we don't have that in the budget, that was a lie. Or at least more accurately, it was a negotiation tactic. The budget existed, you just weren't on it. Number two, it proves that it's ministry and you should be doing it for the love of it was never the real reason. See, if it was truly about ministry, they wouldn't be paying the new musician either. But they are paying the new musician because ministry was never the real reason. Convenience was. And number three, it proves that the scriptural argument that they used to keep you broke was situational. See, the scriptures that they use to keep you broke should also apply to the new musician, but they don't. It's really funny how that works. The theology changes the moment the budget does. And number four, it proves that your value was never the issue. They didn't pay the new musician that came in because he or she was more talented or had more experience necessarily. They paid them because they had options. The new musician, the replacement, that's the receipt. It proves that everything that they told you before that happened was not true. So what do you do with all of this? How do you make sure you're the musician that they never replace? Let me show you how. Here's what church musicians need to understand. Loyalty without leverage is a trap. Being faithful and committed and dedicated to a church isn't the problem. Being all of those things without a conversation about value is the problem. The most dangerous position that a church musician can be in is that position of they know I will never leave. Because once they know that and once they understand that, your value and your compensation completely stops being a priority. And also, and this is really, really important, so hear me on this one. Options are your power. A musician that has other gigs, multiple streams of income, other opportunities to play and get paid is a musician they have to take seriously. When you have options, other people respect you. And when you don't, they don't. And another thing is, have the conversation about this before you burn out. Don't wait till you get to a breaking point. Sit them down, have the conversation, lay out the value, and ask them directly. The best time to have that conversation was probably 5 years ago. The second best time is today. And another thing is you got to know your value before they do. A person or a musician that doesn't know their value will allow their value to be defined by other people. And that's exactly what happens to a lot of us church musicians. And when the church defines that value for you, it's always lower than what your worth is. So you need to know your rate, you need to know your skill level, and you need to know what you bring to the table. And do not let that conversation happen on their terms. And look, walking away has to be an option. You don't have to leave your church, and I'm not suggesting that you should or that you do. But if walking away isn't on the table in your mind, you don't have any leverage. The moment I could leave becomes a real possibility, the whole dynamic shifts. So here's what I want you to understand. When a church replaces you and pays the next person, it's not betrayal, it's clarity. And as painful and as disgruntling as a situation like that may be, it's actually a gift, because now you know what your ministry, your skill, your gift, your talent was worth to them. And you know what the conversation they was having with you was really about. And you know that every single week, every single year that you were playing for free and being committed and loyal and all of that, someone else somewhere was getting a check for doing the exact same thing for the exact same role. So the next time you feel guilty about asking for pay or asking to be paid, remember the replacement. Remember that when you're gone, they'll write a check to the next person without any thought. And ask yourself, why are you the only musician in the building expected to be the exception? You're not asking for too much, you're not being greedy, and you're not a bad person as a lot of them will have you believe. You're a professional asking the church to do what they will do the moment you're gone anyway. You're simply asking them that while you're there, while you're being committed. And that's not wrong. That's wisdom. I'll see you in the next video.